right, I'll call the meeting to order. For those that missed it, I am outpatient now at physical. They're helping me get my balance and they're helping me get my coordination back. I'm really wobbly right now, so they're helping me with that. But the good news is I'm out of the hospital. This was mild. I'm doing very well. So here we are, and we'll go ahead and move forward on this. Karen Baldwin is not feeling well today, so she emailed me this morning and requested that she be excused. And we have a guest, Jeff Hebner. He's running for the board, and he has joined us this morning. So everybody, if you haven't voted.
I'll get a ballot first.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I got mine. I've already got mine. I've already voted. I already dropped it off. So, but I did put it in the police box so that they're going to mail them all FedEx. And I don't know if they're coming in batches or if everyone's getting them all at the same time. I have no idea.
I got ours yesterday.
Did you get yours yesterday? Okay. And I remember what you said last year that you could actually see through the envelope. So I folded it this time, even though our name is on it. I folded it and voted.
Yeah, my problem was that all of my mail gets sent to our permanent address because we're not here all that much.
So
we left yesterday. No, Maryland. Yeah. Another part of Maryland. We came yesterday, and before the mail was delivered. And it's still.
You still don't have it yet.
So I wrote to the elections committee, and I said I'm going to have to request a duplicate. So supposedly I will get one mailed to this address because I'll be here for the duration of the window. We'll see if I get it.
Well, good luck. Mine came, voted, it's gone. So hopefully everybody will get theirs. Hopefully.
Whoever answered my committee email said that it was the vendor did not do what they're supposed to on their deadlines they're supposed to.
Oh, interesting. Well, I know we have a new vendor.
Yeah.
Washington, if you can imagine that, 3,000 miles away.
It's not I have relatives that live there. It's an island. You have to take a ferry to get there. So it's like,
well,
Cambridge Island.
It's the world in which we live now, isn't it?
From last year to this year. Yeah. So, all right, from our last month's meeting minutes, thank you so much, Patricia, for taking those. If everyone had a chance to look at them.
Tim did it, I just gave him notes.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much, Tim, for doing all that. I appreciate it. It really helped us out. If you've had a chance, if there's any corrections, I can make those. Do we have an approval of the agenda? Okay. Tricia? And any second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. And also, then I'll do the same for the May and the June meeting minutes. If we have a motion to approve.
For May.
Okay, for May.
Second.
Go ahead. I'll second May.
Okay.
Just put
Patty.
time for Patricia.
One of
And
them.
I'll just reverse it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, for the June. Okay. Now, we're still waiting on Maryland Coastal Bays. John Phelps did contact me via email asking about where we are on our approval. And I said, we're still waiting on Maryland Coastal Bays. Have we heard anything? I have not put the Roberts rules in order so that we could talk to Doug today. We haven't heard. Okay, so we're still waiting. That's what I told him. I said, right now, Maryland Coastal Bays hasn't contacted us, and we're still waiting. October probably will be our time for that. That being said, I know that we had Burr Monroe last month here. How did you all feel about what he had to say? Does anybody want to chime in?
I think he's a respectable and potential or viable contractor that can deal with our pond tool.
Okay, did it sound as if he would be able to help us out as far as habitat modification or?
Well, I think especially habitat. I mean, he's doing work in the park now.
Okay.
For their pond.
Oh, for the park. Yeah, he had mentioned that to me.
Stabilization.
Okay.
Now, there are differences. People don't fish over there.
Oh.
And so I think he's a a viable contractor. So whatever opportunity comes out of Ocean Pines, I think he could be one of the,
Ones that we could consider.
could consider a list of contractors. Because he also mentioned not just the vegetation, but also he mentioned erosion controlled stabilization.
Okay.
So maybe not.
Hopefully that won't be an issue. By the time
Yeah.
it gets back to us.
Right, maybe not as sophisticated as Solitude, but still apparently a reliable method that could be used.
It could be, okay, for habitat, because my concern is, I know that we're doing the egg handling, because honestly, I saw no babies in our canal this year. Absolutely
saw
not,
Very few.
yeah, as opposed
had-
to last year.
We
I
had
had eight.
6 instead of 600.
Oh, well, that's a huge difference. So I know with the Adling, moving forward on that with, Public Works, but on,
But just to clarify, Sharon, so obviously whatever RFP goes out for Ocean Pines, they mentioned when we need not just the right vegetation, but we also need some kind of stabilization method so that everybody can bid in how they would address that issue. But I asked about the fishing access.
yeah,
And he made a comment. He said, yeah, we can do bow lanes.
do what?
You bow down paths. to shore.
Oh, remember Karen, we had an issue with that when we first started talking about it, because the fisher guys, the anglers came to our meeting. I don't know how many were here at the time. And were concerned that they would still be able to fish if we go forward with the habitat modification.
I mean, he had a good point that if you just simply have stabilized shorelines, that doesn't do anything about the piece. He was talking about having higher natural native vegetation, stuff like that.
At least the 2 feet
Comparing.
from one end.
Yeah,
It was
and
tall-
they'll
taller
embrace
grass.
that.
Right, right.
I mean, I think what you're talking about, even looking at the pictures from Teach a Kid Fish, the pictures. that
Teach
were-
a kid to fish day.
Ultimately, I just don't see you doing that around that whole shoreline. I
Around
just-
the South Pond.
Yeah, with all these, the fishing interests, I don't think you're gonna have a complete solution to make everybody happy. I'm imagining that certain sections of that pond will have to be, you can stabilize it, but you don't put the high grasses or whatever, the vegetation there, because you need to, there's so many people fishing, they're gonna wanna have access. Even though you do mow lanes, I mean, so I think you can understand that you've got two conflicting issues here that you're going to have to compromise, I think, on probably again.
Did
Yeah,
they
make
seem to have a good solution for that or no?
I don't think he had enough time to get into that. I don't think he knew exactly what our problem was.
Okay,
He talked about his experience.
Yeah, I'm not sure he visited the pond to take a
Right.
look, but he did, what worried me was his annual contract with the park, he said was $50,000.
Approximately.
Approximately, they have more than one pond, I think, he said they.
Yeah, they have.
They have
several.
several.
Yeah, so but that was like, okay.
and that's his annual
Perfect.
contract. The reason that we contacted him and Karen had found him and had put her feedback in with the research she had done as far as the 2 feet. That's the same thing that Karen had found out. But we contacted him because of the park, and also Tom Piatti, I think that's how you say his name, had contacted us at the board meeting when Karen gave her presentation. And he came over and he said, he didn't know the gentleman's name, but he said coastal tributaries, I think, was looking at the park. And that's the reason we contacted him.
And he's been working at the park, it seems like 10 years or so. Quite,
So he's familiar with our-
very familiar and
Sure.
apparently they are comfortable enough
So-
to pay.
50,000 is a significant contract.
But yes, but they do have multiple
Like,
ponds.
I'll call you back.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not realize that. That must be where I came from. That thing. Now, on the duck and, I'll get back, I'll circle back to the 90. On the duck and goose crossing signs, I just wanted to update, Greg has picked up one a couple times that has fallen over, where they've mowed over close to the banks, the one that we wanted to move across the street.
Mhm.
He's picked that one up, because it has been laid down, I think, and when they've
The
mowed.
one like across from McDonald's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one has, it's kind of on an incline, and it could have fallen over because of the breeze on that.
I picked up two
And you just,
at the near the library after a big old windstorm thing.
and I know Ann
I
has,
picked up one on Franklin Creek Road, the one on your way out of
Yeah.
Ocean Pines on the right. And I just went back and parked on Coastal on the Ocean Parkway in that little parking area right near the intersection and walked over and put it back up, but I couldn't tell if it went down because of wind or went down because somebody put it down. But,
a lot of
When the guys mow, they move those signs.
they do, I've seen.
Because I don't know how many times some of the signs have been turned like this and I'll pull
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
and put them
Yeah.
back again. And that's very, very common. And as I said, they're heavy. People don't realize, they don't blow over that easy.
They are heavy.
And especially if they're- Especially if you make sure that the legs are spread out a little
Yeah.
bit, that really keeps it supported.
Yeah.
If it's not,
I remember, Ann, you said if we added the sand, that would make it almost too heavy to pick up.
Well, it would be certainly too heavy for me to pick up.
and, adding that sand is not as simple as
yeah.
people think.
Yeah,
Okay.
the holes are there.
Yeah, it has a little tiny thing like that, and you got to get a bag of sand and put it in there.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a complex meeting.
Yeah, and that's what it said, that probably maybe something the people at the
Public Works.
Huh?
Public Works.
that they might want to do, because they can also ride around on a little vehicle and put the sand in the vehicle.
Yeah. and we
Yeah,
don't
instead of
have
me
the-
putting it in the car and trying to drive it around, because a lot of those signs I had to walk, pretty good distance carrying it because I couldn't get my car.
Experience with public works.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned the sand while we were there and Public Works said, "Oh, that's up to you, not us. Here's your
Oh.
signs." I mean, literally, they were not,
Well.
I think they were just more interested in getting the signs out of their
Out of the warehouse.
storage warehouse, right? I mean, one Public Works guy, remember the guy that pulled up in his pickup truck and he came out to take a picture and he seemed like he was really happy. And then he held the traffic for us to go across the street.
Yeah.
But that was an individual that
What
wasn't.
are our thoughts as far as how long do we leave them out? Because they will have to be stored in the winter time. Does anybody have any specific thoughts on that?
Well, at the last meeting, we talked about, it'd be nice to put together a plan for the seasonal placement of the signs. When to put them out, I don't know, March, April, and when to take them down. And because of the sand issue and the weight and whatever, we also talked about, well, that plan, hopefully we can get cooperation from Public Works as part of their, hopefully, the job to help us with those signs.
I think that'll be up to John Viola as once we
Yeah.
send a
But it
info
wouldn't
and
take
everything.
long. I mean, John, you and I, how long did we go? A couple hours, maybe?
Yeah.
We also didn't know where we were going. We were just picking things.
What about the mind reading piece?
Well, I think that's critical
Leave them up.
from the timing of the signs.
Yes.
And we're not, it's got, in year to year, it may not be the same date when the geese leave. And I think it's going to have to be more of, all right, geese are out of here, let's get the signs up. The geese are still around, don't take the signs up. And you hear some of the comments, some people make
Go ahead and run them over.
jokes
Yeah.
about them, but in general, most people are not.
Yeah, that's what we had seen in general I put on our list here on our agenda out of 250 people. And I read through every comment. There were just a few dissenters. I would say 5 out of that were making jokes. And
But a lot of them were very positive.
yeah, most of
Most
them
of
were happy that we had
Yeah.
taken the motivation and moved to put the
Yeah.
signs out.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for years.
You know, I witnessed, I think last week, you probably had too, over at the South Gate, there was a whole flock crossing the roads exactly where the sign.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times because I go down that road frequently. And in fact, just 2 days ago, the same thing.
Yeah.
They were coming out of the pond right by the side and they crossed the street and I was in the line and I had to stop too and let them all go across. And I'm looking at the sign going, perfect place.
Well, I mean, they go to that other pond, you know, behind Taylor.
Yeah.
Taylor's is another one,
Yeah.
and you did put one over
But
there.
I mean, actually, it's actually a critical traffic situation because that's people entering Southgate. That's not too far from that intersection.
That's true.
And now, you know, what are you gonna do about the geese? The geese are gonna do what they want to do.
Right.
Obviously, the signs are actually, I think, a critical safety
Were
issue.
they the domestics or were they the Canada's? Do we know?
I don't know what's
There was
typically.
a ton of them. It had to be
Yeah.
Canada.
It had to be the Canada's. Okay, so they're the residents then.
And so, I mean, you can't joke about that. I mean, that's.
Well, that's why we put it up. I mean, I think
Yeah.
John Viola recognized that when we sent him the link, and thank you, John. You're the one that found that from Virginia.
Yeah.
and Human Resources was talking about. I shared that with him, and he must have played it because it is a hazard as far as driving.
Last weekend, I saw the geese crossing where the Taylors and Southgate is, right there at that pond, and they were hanging out on the big hill. And then they started to cross 589, right where the sign was, and everybody had to stop and let them go across. I
Yeah.
thought that was crazy.
Well, and especially this time of year, I'm glad that we have them out now because of the visitors. We have a lot of people, I know we know, and we live here, but we have a lot of out of town visitors that are not familiar. And I think the signs go away a long way,
I
actually.
mean, I think as a committee, I think, you know, we did the best we could for that problem. If people really have a problem with these blocking the roads and whatever, that's probably up to either the county or Ocean Pines Administration to deal with that traffic problem.
Right.
You know, we will do that, and then, you know, they may put up fence or whatever to.
Yeah, we were limited.
But it also could, I think that comes with the territory.
Yes, it does.
You know,
Yes,
you have all
right.
of these big lakes and the geese come there and live there. That's part of the territory.
And it's their home, and they own the roads. They think they do. So
And with the egg paddling, we're
Right.
limiting the.
I think this
full-time
year,
workers.
consider this year a successful. year.
Absolutely.
And if that keeps up, then, you know, our full-time residents are limited as far as numbers.
This is true.
I don't know if it's the goose signs, but yesterday I was walking, making some rounds around the pond and over towards Lakeland Meadows, and cars were stopping. I'm not a goose, but the cars were actually letting me cross where there are not crosswalks. So I think in general might have raised awareness.
Level of awareness has been.
But I also noticed traffic counters over on Banquet Creek and Ocean Parkway. So I don't know. I mean, are we working towards getting better traffic control at that intersection?
I think so
That would be
with our
great.
signs. I think they're noticing pedestrians and
Yeah.
our geese.
Yes, but again, also the traffic counters are giving me hope that we will get like a programmable traffic light there because it's
Oh, it's
getting
awful.
crazy
Yeah,
this
I
time of
know.
year.
We go out the
So,
library
I do-
entrance
I do.
and even to go that way on Racetrack Road because that four-way stop is just, you're taking your life in your hands there.
Patty, where are we with our South Pond? Have we made any headway? I have not sent my email to info at Ocean Plains Government yet.
With respect to South Pond.
Well, we had some boards on the bridge that need to be
Right.
replaced.
Oh, okay.
And we also had a tree that's coming down, or actually.
Or
going
a
to come
fallen
down.
tree that was
Yeah.
blocking. cut
Okay, so you're talking about what did we decide we call
onto
it?
whatever it is.
Pontoon, the,
We need to give it a name. We thought Turtle Pond. was a
Yeah.
good name, but
we kind of put everything on hold.
So we're waiting.
We
have
need to meet with Rec and Parks since the trails are basically under
What I
their
did
jurisdiction.
is I sent him an email and then I also contacted the chair and we had a discussion about it and he said we can work in concert with
Yeah,
him.
I think that's the best
So-
way to do it.
Didn't you send,
Send it.
And,
I thought somebody sent,
we were.
I sent you, I sent you a list of.
You sent me the list, which I have,
That you did
right.
not yet send to.
but I did not send it. I wanted to touch base. and
Okay.
see If you'd like for me to, I can do that after this meeting. I'll send it over and have them get over there and at least take a look because we need to get on the list for the board.
But just,
on the
does
bridge.
Rec and Parks have that list? Because again, it's a trail that I think comes
No,
under.
we just discussed it. And,
Okay.
and he was very happy. He said you did great work and he really appreciated the input on the trail and the tree and the boards and all of that. But he said they're working simultaneously, as I guess the word, as far as these trails are concerned.
So I'm kind of lost. So you did send it to them, which, so we sent you a list and you sent it to Rec and Parks.
No, I discussed it. I
Okay.
did not forward anything to him.
So what are we doing
Well, I think
then?
it wouldn't it be best if we did this in concert with them and, send
I
that list
thought-
that we have the endorsement.
If
of both
you would like
committees.
for me to do that, I can certainly share.
I
that with
thought
you.
that was the reason for sending the list was so that you could send it to them and request that we get together and
Talk about
walk it and talk about what the possibilities.
Because they have several that they're working on besides the tiny pond.
I don't have a problem with sending it to
You're okay
them.
to share with
but
them?
I-
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was coming from you because you
You're the
have the,
Well,
because
I
you have
probably
the.
And then everything went to hell in a handbasket for me in June, so probably didn't. get
Okay,
done.
so, do you have a person at Rec and Parks or just,
No, it was the chair. And
okay,
honestly, I had just taken this out of the paper because I wanted to know what all he was working on.
okay,
And the board of directors are working with him on that. I wanted to also mention that Doug Parks, this is probably our last meeting with you because Doug is timing out. He's been an excellent board liaison for us and I appreciate it. But back to Ocean Parks, the rec facilities, they've been working on Bainbridge Park and then Meadows Park and Pintail Park and Whitehorse Park and Southgate Pond Walking Trail, but they have not mentioned our Route 90 pond. I think we're the ones that are looking at that. So if everything is kosher as far as our list, I'll be glad to share that with them.
Yeah, I think the main concern is the safety issues with the broken.
I think so
bridge.
too.
That should be number one.
And they also mentioned in another park, they had a tree that's come down.
Short trip.
Do they have what, marks?
Mulch,
Mulch, yeah.
because the Robin Hood Trail, they had mulch on
Oh,
that.
did they? Oh, that's right. You and Amy.
Well, no, a
some
lot
of
the
it's,
trail is
some of
unmarked.
it's gravel, some of it's unmarked, and some
Cinders.
of it's, yeah, cinder, some of
Yeah.
it's cinder, some of it's
Totally
marked,
unmarked and on that
and
website.
then some of it's just kind of natural, I would
You gotta
say.
find your way.
Yeah.
There's paths that have been worn in some parts, but
But like going up to the bridge, there aren't cinders there, I don't think, and it's
well marked.
it's just kind of natural,
Right.
dirt.
Yeah,
or-
Route 90 in ours that we're discussing, I think it's been mulch mostly.
Okay.
like wood chips.
Because
I
I
don't-
saw some commentary, like from Viola at a meeting, whatever, we're upgrading the trails, or
Yeah.
there was some comment.
Their board
And,
meetings.
and clearly on the Robin Hood Trail,
Put mulch.
they've added, wood chip mulch all
And
through.
I think that's easy for public works because we get a lot of trees that they chop up
Right.
and then get the free.
Yeah, free mulch.
Yeah,
But apparently they haven't done any work at the Route 90 pond.
no.
To be honest, I haven't been out there in a long time, so I don't know if they have done.
I was there for
August.
on the fireworks day.
Okay.
July 4th, so that.
July
that-
All right, well, let me share with their chair and get moving on that. So by September, we'll get them over there and hopefully, again, we will advise them to help us out. We don't tell anybody to do anything. We have no authority. So we're at their mercy. So we advise things.
Do you want me to do that and copy you, or do you want to?
It's up to you. If you would like to
No,
do
it's up
that,
to you. You're the
Well,
boss.
I
What,
would-
what do you think would be the better way?
I would like
I
to
can.
share, when I get home this afternoon, I will share our list with the
Okay.
chair.
All right.
And I'll say, this is what we're working on. And then if you want to,
Okay, then
Take it
respond. Okay,
to
that's
the,
a good idea.
yeah, we'll go
Okay,
that way. That would have his feedback. And
okay,
then we can go to info
okay,
and hit it on both ends.
okay.
So,
Got
and
it.
I'll copy you on that.
Okay.
Share that.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. As far as the turtle sanctuary, the reason that's been put off till now, we had a couple people that came to me via email, and I think they copied John and they might have copied Karen. And at the time, this goes back to June, or back or maybe even May, where they were talking about a turtle sanctuary. The ladies were concerned that we have turtles in the South Pond that lost their tree, as we know, because they took the trees out so the helicopter pilot can land, and you all know how I feel about that.
Mhm.
So we need to get something for the turtles. I shared with everyone, and Jeff, I'll show you. This is what they have, and look at all the turtles. This is what they have in Baltimore. So this is a really good, and let me show Pat Benner. I copied everyone. They have a lot of turtles on this. Honestly, this reminded me of the boxes that we have in the North Ponds. It's very much smaller than this, but we had something similar to this up there. They seem to have wiring, maybe netting around the grasses. But look at all the turtle. We're involved. She just sent me an attachment,
Oh,
and I appreciated it because I looked all over the internet trying
yeah.
to find
Here's
something.
another.
I
sorry, didn't
researched-
finish this, but this is another style that,
That's similar to what we have.
but it doesn't have those high things sticking out of it, which might get snagged fishing lines and other things.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is, you got one too?
Well, no, I researched that one.
This is another one
And
that everybody
it's there. I found a picture that says Jack Cover of the National Aquarium helped mastermind and build Turtle Island. It was an article about what
Oh,
you
about
have
this.
there.
Yeah.
So there's a guy because I was looking to see if we could buy one.
Oh,
Well, this guy, Jack Cover at National Aquarium, built it. I wonder if we could reach out to see if Jack Cover would share his plans with us or
so maybe we could share that with public. Because again, we're going to be making a suggestion. And the more attachments we have, the more advice we can give them, the better off we are. Has anyone else looked into this? I mean, I did share this with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One of the things I did, if you go to the Southgate Pond,
yes.
you know, where Taylor's and everybody is, the turtles in there. There were some turtles that are just
Oh,
big,
God.
big, huge turtles,
Those
and
are
then
snappers.
swimming. What? No. And, you know, they're looking around and then swimming with them. There were at least 10 little tiny turtles swimming with
The
them.
big one.
I was floored. And I don't know how many times I saw that big guy.
Wow.
I don't know if it's a guy.
It might be female. I had no idea we had
But
turtles.
I was, you know, I was really surprised.
Yeah.
And
Well, it is possible that people get them as pets and then they get too big and then they put them somewhere where they
Just
think
like our
they'll-
duck.
right now they all seem pretty happy in that pond. I'll tell you that. And it's pretty simple to see them. I mean, it
Well,
really
and
is.
that's that we have turtle platforms, similar to what I think you just showed.
Mhm.
And those are just very simple to put in the water. And I think they weight them down so that they can stay in one location. Does
Maybe
anybody?
from the bottom, I don't know.
Yeah, or they put them in the water. We can do some more research on that. If anybody has any ideas as far as the turtle platforms, we are all open to suggestions because this is something we're going to put together. I'd like to do this by September meeting. If we can make a recommendation, we'll have a whole new board and by then we'll have people that'll be listening and wanting to get advice and see where we are on things.
I have a question. Does anybody know if you live on a canal and, you know, the area of the bulkhead that abuts your property, if you could put a turtle platform there in front of your own home?
I
I
haven't
can
seen.
tell you, if you put a lift in, you have to get approved. You have to,
Well, we have a
Yeah,
lift.
from-
I mean, we have a.
but I
boat.
mean, when it comes to putting anything in that canal, you can't
Well,
just go do it
But a
yourself.
lift is,
You can put like kayaks in there and everything, but you don't leave it laying in the canal. You pull it out.
Well, you probably, the quickest way would be to contact the county. They have an environmental department, like the same guy I talked to about
so
the
the
trees.
county would be,
Probably, yeah, because they're obviously, they regulate waterways through the state of Maryland, but.
What I found interesting last summer, it became an issue, was people were allowed to put was it crab pots in the canals?
yes.
And boaters
No,
were
it
very
was,
disappointed.
it wasn't
What was
crab
it?
pot, it was eel pots.
Eel
And
pots.
I talked to the DNR about that because our canal, we're at the very end of our canal, you know, where it meets the land. So there's not a lot of wiggle room in our canal where we are or the other people that have boats in that area.
Because they
And
put
there was a-
bobbers on.
There was this, you know, these pots, and so I called the DNR and asked them what was going on, and they said that it was eel pots that somebody had gotten gotten approval for. He had a license to place them in various places in the canal system, and they only were they going to be there for like 2 weeks
Oh.
until they collected. I had no idea eels were underwater.
I didn't know that was the.
I mean, I wouldn't swim in the canal to begin with, but now I definitely wouldn't swim in the canal.
Well, I watched one of our blue herons eat a whole ear, and that was an eel, and that was disgusting.
Yes,
last
but
summer.
it
It was pretty awful.
I mean, the Indians was right. I mean, they were there for 2 weeks, and then at some point, the guy came and lifted them. We
Picked
didn't
them up
see
and
him
took
do
them
it, but
away.
they were gone. And they did not do it again this year. I don't know why.
I did not see them.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything in
Yeah,
there.
they had a permit for it.
What about the oyster cages?
I think that they had limited people that were doing that. Not even my neighbors did it this year.
But I mean, do they have to get? permits
They
or
do
not?
not.
I know.
You have 4 of them in the morning. Did you have to get a permit or you just put them in? That's what I thought. The gentleman, at one point, we had him speak to us. This was back in the day during COVID. And he came out and he talked to us about the cages that we could put in the canal and how much water the oysters would clean, but he never mentioned a permit. I think we're good on that.
Well, if you're doing a platform, that might be a different issue because it could, you know, get cut loose from your bulkhead and then it's a hazard.
Yeah.
So, there's probably statute.
I just know I have a dock and I have a lift that I had to put up and you have a lot of approval to get before.
Oh,
you
I
can do anything.
remember. I was back built a house between the dock and the lift and the bulkhead and
I mean, a couple of years ago, in this committee, we were talking about kind of garden things to go in the canals with
oh, that was similar to what we have in the North Pond to help filter.
to filter water. And I don't know where it ever went, but there was discussion about it being in the individual canals, which I thought would have been great. I don't really, care about.
You know how deep those canals
No, I don't.
are? Okay.
Well,
It depends.
Mine's 5 feet.
yeah, you saw the
Yeah,
video of the
because-
guy jumping in and getting the deer out.
Oh, I
If you
saw that.
So he was like maybe up to here in the
It's
canal.
probably low water.
Yeah,
It's like 3 feet
yeah.
because we're over
I
in
know.
the golf
It's
course.
the canal I have, depending on the tide, but my pontoon boat, I had a Garmin in there
Wow.
and it would tell me the depth. And at the canal where we were, on low tide, it was still 9 feet deep. And on high tide, it'd be 6 feet.
Right.
But as soon as you go further out and get near the sandbars, then
Right.
everything drops.
Everything, exactly.
That's what the Garmin really was for, to help me with the sandbars.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for the turtles,
Sharon.
Yes,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Before we move on from the turtle platform, is there a contact with DNR or Maryland Coastal Bays who could give us the recommendations for the best practices about platforms for the turtles?
well, we have Kevin Smith that I could reach out to. I think you know him as well.
Yes.
And I think that they could always guide us. I know that a regular turtle platform we've had out there before, but I'm not sure, after a few years, those things, they either disintegrate or they sink. I'm not sure what happens to them because I remember seeing one when I moved here in 2016. It's gone now. But I think Kevin Smith, to answer your question, I think could be a person that we could touch base with.
Would you like me to reach out to him?
Yeah, if you could reach out to Kevin, and that would be very helpful. And see if there's anything as far as the turtle population that we could help out, especially since we took their log away. And John has seen the mother of all turtles out there.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Pat. All right, on Teach a Kid to Fish Day, Patty Gamby was there. This is a different one that I have listed here. On July 15th, I did not attend for health reasons, and I told John McFall that I would not be there. But the month before, Patty had presented us with, and
I've got it here.
yeah, did you bring it in?
Tim brought it.
Well, we talked about it last month, but you can review it again.
Well, I tell you, the anglers loved this idea. They thought this was a great idea. Yeah.
And when I was in Virginia Beach, one of my many trips, I took my daughter-in-law out to a pond down there, a little park. They're all over the place. Anywhere people fish, those things are all
And
over.
this is a perfect solution. I think it would help.
Those are
fishers.
already there. So if we could get permission, those posts are already in.
That
If we
would take
could get
longer.
permission to,
Yeah, that's an
So
example.
I think
Everyone
your
can see
wire top is what maybe you need, if you look at the
Yeah.
picture of the already.
This is the one that
What is it?
Patty
Yeah, it's right over there.
just showed us as an example, the ones that she had made.
Yeah.
And she's
See,
going,
this one.
and this is this is one out at the beach.
Got a bigger,
Bigger.
bigger
This is-
thing.
that's a 6-inch.
Uh-huh.
And this is 4-inch. And the reason this is 4-inch is because they don't stock 6-inch in Home Depot. And I, in order to demonstrate it, I got what they had. But when we were out there, we thought the 4-inch actually might be preferable because you can't get a tan in there.
Right. So we
Yeah,
got where.
But you can't get trash in there very well. And then I just made these with my Cricut, and I didn't want to put it on because it's easy to put on but hard to get off. So in case anybody had any comments on it, so then somebody just goes around and undoes the bottom, and that's how they get emptied. So
We'll get John to do that every year.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, but
It is a great idea.
like your prototype is perfect.
this
I
is
think it is.
this is $30 worth of materials. So they're not expensive to make, and when I looked them up online, I was looking to buy them, and all I could find was the instructions on how to make them. So,
And if you bought one, I'm sure it would be 3 times. as
and I couldn't
expensive.
find it. And it was, my husband made this. It was very easy. So
Who do we, would we go through John Viola, or would it be info at oceanfreeze.org again to see who could help us with our?
Start with info that way, because John, it could go either way. We might get somebody outsider, you might start with public works.
Oh, I see.
Let him make
Okay.
the decision.
Okay, all right, because I'd like to move on mass. We have a lot of people out there fishing.
what I'd like to do, if you agree, is go out and find how many of those poles there are, because I think if we can get them kind of spaced around the pond,
Because
that,
they fish all around.
yeah, and find out how many poles they are. So propose exact locations where the poles are already existing. I can send that information to you, or unless you want me to
Well, you can
Send it
send that to
directly to-
me and I'll share it with Linda,
Okay.
who can go through John Viola, because I don't think that we should be, you particularly
Right.
paying, even if it's just $30 just,
Yeah,
yeah, that's gonna add up.
right. Do we have like a petty cash account
Well,
or something?
we cash, but we can go through, we can go
Too
through the
bad.
office and see,
Okay,
because we're talking minimal money.
yeah, it's
A big
probably over
payback, I
120
think.
bucks.
And you said the fisher people,
Yeah, when we were
Really
there
liked it?
Yeah.
to teach a kid to fish, they were real excited
Maybe
about
they
it.
so maybe we could get the committee that organizes teach the kids to fish to work with us.
They were right next to us on our table.
Yeah, they were.
And they said, oh, that's a great idea. And then afterwards, that's when you walked around and
might be
I see where we could maybe mount one.
That they might be willing to work with us on this.
Yeah, I think they'd be happy to have something.
Patty,
like that.
not only line, but maybe like hooks and
Mhm. Lines and hooks.
Lines and hooks.
gear or whatever that.
Yep.
That they throw out.
Yeah. Yeah, I shouldn't put line comma hooks or something like that. I'd host it out. Gear. Yeah.
Would say candy wrappers too, because that would help.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll go.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we have
So
to
what
have the
foundation?
gentleman clean it out. for us. Public
Well-
Works.
The picture that I sent,
Where I just trying to figure out where they would dispose of the monofilament. Public Works.
you burn it.
Burn.
Yeah.
So,
Someone posts that there
okay,
now.
to go back, the picture that I initially sent was the 4th Street fishing pier in Ocean City.
Oh,
Oh,
They have
that's this,
they have a 6-inch
I
one.
was talking about it. Honestly.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those other kinds. I was in Virginia Beach walking around a pond there and they had them all over the
Okay.
place. Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there finding.
No, there aren't any.
yeah, we don't have any.
But my point was, it's a standard thing at fishing places. If you go to any of the state parks, if they've got designated fishing locations, you'll find one of those.
It's
A
a
couple of them.
perfect idea, and I know on Clear Your Gear on Facebook, Claudia Burns has pictures of those,
Mhm.
and she thinks it's a great wildlife saver
Yeah.
for the birds, and you have the monofilament,
So
put it in.
the way you dispose of it is you burn it. So you just get some sort of a container, a paper bag or something, you go around and empty it, and then you build a fire and burn it because it melts the lime. Or else you cut it into small pieces.
That's what I was reading. to
Burn
cut
it or
into
cut it
smaller
into small
So
pieces.
that the animals
What do
would
you do?
get them.
You can throw the pieces in the
Those are
trash
just trash.
because if you make pieces like that, wildlife isn't going to get caught up in it. That's the idea, is it's the long pieces that the wildlife get tangled up in. So you either burn it or cut it into,
Put it in a trash bag.
On Teach a Kid to Fish, I was disappointed that I couldn't attend the July the 15th because I would have had Patty out. Could have maybe had another-
yeah, and I'm sorry,
It's okay.
it got past me. I didn't.
Well, this was the Art Hansen Award, I think, fishing event. They have back-to-back ones. They had the one in June that we attended, and we had a table there. And then July, we were also invited, but I wasn't able to make that one. So I'm sorry. Is there anything else that anyone would like to discuss?
Yeah, going back to something we were working on earlier, the bee box.
Yes.
Well, I went over to the big community garden yesterday and I didn't see any evidence that it had actually been placed. I was wondering, probably people that were supplying them would have had to have Public Works put it up. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
they
know what the
actually were
process
the
was.
ones that went to Viola, and he had asked our opinion. Tim, do you have any feedback on that?
Nothing.
On the bees? Not?
No,
Because from the notes, it looked like it had been placed.
That's, yeah, it's a pretty
I
big,
know, I read that.
a pretty big
Somebody commented,
garden.
and I don't know how true that was.
All right.
I could look again.
I'm in those gardens every day.
You haven't seen them? Yeah, there's, they're not, it's a house with holes in it. The pollinating non-colony bees help. Yeah, and because I walked the whole perimeter of the garden And
I remember what Doug had said 2 meetings ago when we talked about the mothers worried about their kids because it's close to the playground. And I know the bees are not aggressive, and I wasn't worried about the bees biting anybody or stinging anybody, but I thought that it had been done as far as being
Yes,
placed.
because it says completed in June, year EFP.
But the only thing is, those, the
But that
the ones that I've ever seen,
then-
they're
Said something.
pretty small. They may have overgrown, you just can't see.
I'd like to have.
well, that was, I think they only have permission for one.
They did.
But you know, I don't have a key to that garden, so I just was walking around to see if I could. But I think I saw a public works truck there yesterday. I was like, maybe he's here to put it up.
Oh,
Actually,
interesting.
I'll look again.
We still
Yeah, I was
thinking.
gonna say, if you could shoot me an email on that, as far as if you get up back over there, because I thought that was.
And maybe they.
We had made the recommendation that it was okay
Just
to
find it.
move forward on that, because we didn't find that the bees were aggressive in any way. John, did you have any input?
Yes. Sierra Club, we had a Zoom meeting last Thursday. 2.5 hour Zoom meeting. But in any case, the big deal, the one thing that they had sent to me is that this is the pending laws and the existing laws on plastic bags and the fines for all the different counties. And I got it in the mail and I printed it out, but it literally says there's also a charge and which counties are where they are. And it's really quite surprising. And then the pending ones, Anne Arundel, Prince George's, Laurel, Maryland, and Centerville, Maryland, they're all in the process also of doing plastic bag jurisdiction.
The bag.
Well, they're either banning them or they're taxing them to make sure that, you know, if you're going to use the plastic bag, you're going to have to pay for it. But in a lot of cases, it's a ban on plastic carryout bags and a tax on the bag. So in other words, the trend here is they're saying, hey, look at, you know, we don't want because the big deal was they're having a real problem. And it's not just them, it's a lot of places of the
Worcester
bags
County's
getting
pretty
into
much
the
the
water.
only one.
And it's not only the plastic, it's not only the plastic you have to worry about, you know, somebody stuck in the boat or the fish or stuff, but it's the PFAS that gets leached out of the plastic that then affects the bacteria that all of these fishes and clams are living on. So there's two issues there. And the PFAS is a longer term problem, but then it's a more difficult problem to correct. But anyway, they sent this to me in the mail just before the meeting in case, you know, you
Well,
want to.
would you be able to share this with us via email at some point? Well, as Karen said, we're probably.
Delaware's eliminated them as well.
Yeah,
what?
you have. they have to do
Delaware,
paper bags.
as
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah,
Plastic.
so where's Worcester County?
Worcester County hasn't even brought it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's why I thought it was pretty interesting. If you see where this is going.
I'm in the comment about, or whatever Sierra Club was saying about either entities either eliminate them or tax them. My personal opinion is taxing is a bunch of baloney because, all right, then they, you know, get extra money and it doesn't discourage a lot of people and the bags still
They
exist
still
forever
exist and
in
people still have.
our landfills. So the taxing is to me, you know, of course you can't even come out with that. I say, I won't support that. I
That's just
support
a
a ban.
moneymaker.
That'd be
Yeah.
fine.
I can't see you.
If you could share this with us via email.
I don't
that
know.
would be great.
Yeah,
Plastic.
I know. I mean.
I don't even see,
They have some of those, they have city.
I see the pending one, yeah, January 2024.
Yeah, we've had in Montgomery County,
Oh,
we've had that for at least a decade. But-
5 cents, is it the 5
Yeah,
cents?
and I'm pretty, good about
Yeah,
keeping
well-
reusables in my cars,
Yeah.
but I still see a lot of people who, they don't care, they just pay the 5 cents.
Yeah,
Well, that's what they're.
5 cents doesn't-
If you're at the self-checkout, it's like honor system, who's looking to see whether you actually paid for your bags, but a lot of people just don't think about these things.
yes,
Yeah.
It's educational, that's why I was really impressed that Delaware said, no.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, just no.
The ban works because it forces people to deal with it.
Right.
I don't know if you still have to pay for paper bags.
No.
everywhere.
No.
No,
They just give you
actually, when,
paper.
the last time I was at the Food Lion in Delaware. They just bagged it in a paper bag, put it in the cart and sent me on my way, no
Yeah.
charge.
And there's some stores that, don't, and make paper bags, like the Aldi, if you've been there. And,
Yeah, you can buy their bags.
And Teeter's is all paper, wasn't
Oh, it's,
Well,
Because it's in Delaware.
that's right, that's in
It's
Delaware.
in Delaware.
it? It's,
Been
and,
there for a while.
well, I just went, week and a half ago, and I brought my own bag because I have a carry-on bag that I use
Right.
anytime I go in the stores. You know,
Yeah, that's-
and I brought that in there, and they said, oh, we got the paper bags.
I was in Boston's last week. I have a 17-year-old granddaughter, and I was taking her clothes shopping for school to start. And we had a bunch of clothes. We paid for them, and then the woman said, "Do you want to pay 99 cents for a Boston's bag?" And I said, "Nah, I don't think so." And she handed us the clothes. No paper bag, no plastic bag, no bag of any kind.
Yeah, that's,
So
that's
the
what I'm
operator
looking at.
was either carrying around all this stuff, and a 17-year-old girl, you got a lot of stuff. So I ended up paying 99 cents for a Boscov's bag.
Was it a
Okay, so
paper
now
bag?
that's something
I know,
that
it was
was
plastic.
It was a bag I could keep and
Oh,
reuse,
it's like a
but of course
fabric
it has
bag. Yeah.
Boscov's across the front, so
Got it.
it's a little advertising to them, but
Right.
that just kind of irritated me. That was like, yeah,
And that's what Comico.
Yep.
yeah,
Never
that
been
was
there.
my comic book thing.
Yeah, interesting. All right, well, we have some work to do.
I got one more, so I'm still, excuse me, still hung up on trees, okay, so. So if you look in the park over here, it looks like they're planning to cut down, towards probably wheat or dead trees. And and a couple years ago, they cut down some trees, so in other words, White Horse Park is slowly turning into White Horse Lawn. And so my recommendation is, in other words, we know the trees are getting old. Well, maybe there needs to be a program to start replacing trees so that we can maintain, the quality of our parks. So,
I wish that they had something like that for the trees, the healthy trees, especially that we're removing from the lots, as you discovered. And Ken Wolf had sent, a lot across from him that had just been shaved for a new house, that we would replace the trees. The county had a point system that they forced us to use back in the day in 2016 or 2014. We started building the house, but I don't think they have anything for dead trees like you're talking about, or the aging trees. And I hate to say his name, but Joe Reynolds had mentioned ghost forests, and that has been emailed to me.
That's Joe saltwater incursion.
Ghost forests.
Oh,
And
saltwater incursion kills trees.
right,
As the, water keeps coming in, trees are gonna go down, but
yeah.
my idea is very specific, that maybe perhaps contact OP Info saying, we noticed the trees are slowly being removed. Could there be attempts to plant new trees to maintain?
That would be great.
Yeah.
That
And
would
not
be
just
the
seedlings, but,
environmental thing to do.
Actually, now that'll cost some money because if you're gonna get, 4-foot high, plantings from a nursery, that costs money. Yeah, I think more than just doing a little seed.
Then, yes, new seeds.
Yeah.
And the seeds would disappear because the squirrels and the deer.
Well, I'm talking about,
I could,
a 1-foot high tree.
Right.
I
Something
could
that's gonna be
volunteer the one in my
significant.
yard that I
That's
found
well-
pulling up,
Clearly, money's not a problem. Look at all those cherry trees at the South Pond.
And after looking at that, I can see that the ones that were impacted most face 589, and I'm sure the winter weather and wind was too much for them.
Yeah.
I saw that they've done some pruning, but not
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I think when they
That's a
initially
bad
put them
choice.
in, they had the bags.
I mean, that's kind of like the rules of life. Give one, take one, take one, give one. That's
Yeah, It seems like that's logic.
Yeah,
Arbor Day Foundation, they give out free trees.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
not big.
Well,
And that's something, I've gotten their packages in the past. We need something a little bit more than those little seed
your
rings.
little seedlings.
I don't think there's a deer problem in this park, so they could probably, plant some kind of new trees. Don't have to worry about putting tubes around them and all this kind of stuff.
That's what I wondered, if they needed to place the wiring around them
Yeah.
so that we keep them safe, so the animals don't chew on them.
Of course, the deer roam pretty far into Ocean Pines, so on second thought, they probably hang out here, during the dawn or whatever. But they may have to do that. But I guess my point is, okay, obviously trees are dying, you're cutting them down. Can we add trees back to the park?
How come they're dying?
I think some of them are just old. If you look, there's a couple completely dead trunks, a couple. But if you look at the crowns, the leaves or whatever, it looks like they're just age, I think.
I think so, it's just aging. We have some of those on the golf course. They're just old and overgrown with ivy.
Ivy will choke them up, but
Yeah.
also, if you see little holes all over the tree or bare bark, that's pine beetle.
That's
What kills my tree. They can spread. But that's also an aging tree is more likely to
get sick
susceptible
and
to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pine trees grow really fast though. So.
Tim, would you like to put together a suggestion?
Yeah, suggestion.
And then send it to me, please. And what I'll do is I'll send that one to Ocean Pines. They'll get it to the right department, and I'll copy you so that you'll know that that's been done after I receive that. And that would be very helpful, because we need to do something about the trees. And, Ocean Pines is called Ocean Pines for a reason. And we are over 50 years old, so the trees are going to die, but they can be replaced. And it will take some time and money. But I think the suggestion from us will go a long way to helping them.
Yeah. I mean, we can't control, how they construct on lots and clear cutting the lots or whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
we
the county we found out.
Well, personally, I don't think that's a county issue. I think that's how they're interpreting. The Ocean Pine people are interpreting county rules, but I'm not going to get into argument. But obviously, so we're losing habitat. Okay, so let's try to, add back in some habitat
I
in
agree.
the parks or something like that.
Pat, do you have any comments?
No, I agree with the folks. I really think that more research has to be done to find out what the actual policy is and who has aegis over how builders are permitted to come in and clear cut. I really, that's just so counterintuitive to the spirit, like you said, Sharon, of Ocean Pines at a high level. As far as debris, when a tree falls, that can get expensive, and I assume that our Ocean Pines folks are contracted to take care of that, like at the park and whatnot, when trees fall and around the pond areas. Is that correct?
I think they keep an eye on it, because if you look at some of these damaged trees in White Horse Park, clearly there's dead limbs and things like that. So clearly that's what they're doing, is maintaining the tree health, and including cutting down. But the problem is every few years they're cutting a few more. And my point is, 10 years from now, there's hardly going to be anything left.
Right, it'll be parking lot and gravel.
Yeah, there are a lot of resources for, like, the Arbor Day Foundation. DNR also has a tree periodic, I think during Arbor Day, they'll give away trees as well. The problem with that I've found in the past with school gardens in particular, growing trees and those sorts of efforts when we've gone and done where students had to go out and do service learning and such, is the upkeep. Trees, they take a long time to get established. And as far as regrowth, we'll have to make sure that anything, if we do initiate some plantings, that they're monitored and maintained so that they get through those first few years when they're so vulnerable to weather changes so that they can mature.
Our cherry trees, we lost about half of them, I think, in the South Pond.
Yeah, they're not completely dead, but some of
Getting
them are
there.
looking pretty bad.
Well, the cherry trees in Washington are dying off because of,
Climate change.
well, we have the flooding, the more frequent flooding, and it's not viable anymore. So slowly they're going as well.
I think we really need to make sure that we stick with native species.
Exactly.
Yeah,
me
That way
too.
we have less issues.
Agreed.
I mean, oaks and hollies love this place. Also cherry trees. There's a lot of wild cherry trees on my lawn. They love it. In this garden.
Great myrtles.
Yeah. The magnolias, hickory and ash trees all seem to do well around here.
Those placements. Doug, any last comments since this is a final meeting with you?
Our Robert's rules was-
Robert's rules are suspended. I just opened them up.
That's the only thing I would, well, couple one, first of all. The segue I do for all the committees is make sure you follow Robert's, because I know we tend to get informal, but, you know, it's always good to have that structure around there, so we keep focused on the issues, so on and so forth. But I appreciate all the work you guys have done, they're really interesting topics, and I can see the passion, you know, and the commitment to, you know, to the, not only the committee, but, you know, the purpose of the committee. And it's good to have those kinds of volunteers that's going to help our community, rather than these people that are just complacent and stuff. So,
Yeah,
you know, at the end of the day, I want to thank everybody, you know, for their volunteer time as well. Volunteers, I've said that many times, it's the volunteers that kind of help us, you know, get through there. And the subject matter experts too, you know, I always say there's a lot of intellectual capital.
But we have a lot of intelligence here. So a lot of,
Yeah, and another committee I served on, because liaisons in the past, there's a lot of intellectual capital out there, and, you know, the future board members, you know, one of my recommendations, make sure you take advantage. It's free, it's given voluntarily, and, you know, it's a great resource to have. But again, I appreciate the work that everybody does.
we'll miss you and we appreciate your helping us out. We are passionate about, you know, each one of us brings something different to the table and the topics we're passionate about. And I love the fact that we're innovative and come up with ideas and solutions for, you know, we don't just bring a problem, we have a solution. That's why we're trying to dig deeper about our beehive, because that was brought to us and we approved it, and now we can't find the darn thing, so.
Actually, one more thing, you brought up another point that I was thinking back to the executive council meeting that we had for, you know, all the, you know,
Oh, I remember that, yes.
one of the things is, you know, communicating among the committees. You know, I said, absolutely encourage working with other committees. It sounds like you guys are doing that. That's a big, there's, again, you get sort of this access to and exposure to another area of expertise that might be very similar to, you know, what you guys are doing. So I really promote that. There's no, you know, there shouldn't be any apprehension in reaching out to another committee, you know.
We reached out to the Marine Committee before, we've had, you know, kayak,
So,
issues,
so, yeah.
exactly, and extra parks.
And a question about the process for
We're moving forward on a chair, yeah, because at some point, my time runs out in October. And, yeah, my next, I would have to renew, which I probably won't under the circumstances. I need to focus a little more on me. So, we'll have to discuss that, think about who you might want for your next chair. And then in September, we'll discuss that because we're coming up, this is July already. And I know it sounds like it's a long way off, but as Doug will tell you, it'll be here in no time. And we'll have to discuss, you know, moving forward on the committee and who we might want to take us there. Thanks, Jess, for attending the meeting.
Well, thanks for having me.
And I would like to move that we adjourn the meeting. I guess. Okay, 30 seconds. Thank you all for coming.